This is KICB 881 The Point. David Watts on the mic. As promised, I have Section 7 in the studio with me. If you guys want to, we'll start from the left, go right. Give me your names. Your my left.
Yeah, Lance Rosso, I play bass.
Jake Rosso, I play drums and sing.
Eric Lee, I play guitar and make obnoxious noises.
Mason O'Brien, I play guitar.
And so that's Section 7. So let's start. Where are you all from?
Lance?
We're all local.
You're all local?
I lived with Lance for 18 years.
Yeah, I lived with Jake for 18 years.
Eric lived with Mason for 18 years.
Just moved out.
Are you guys actually related or
No.
just nah?
We are. Father and son, obviously.
You got the father and son duo, the drummer and the bass guitar.
Yeah, right?
Brothers.
Yeah, we adopted each other.
You adopted each other.
Definitely.
Okay, so all local your whole life then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You lived in...
I moved around a lot. There wasn't really a home for me. Webster City, Stratford, kind of out of Moreland now, so pretty close by.
So Fort Dodge area still.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
relative.
All right. So how did you all meet?
So, I lived with Lance for 18 years. And my mom and Mason's mom worked together when we were born. And so Mason and I, there are pictures of Mason and I rolling on a baby blanket together as infants. And then I would say the Eric connection came when Eric started playing live music around here. Do you agree?
Yeah, it just kind of started around the same time when you were looking for someone new. So just kind of lucked out.
Got lucky.
Got lucky. No, nobody like you just ran into each other then, like at a.
Pretty much. It was we had a show booked and we needed a guitar player because our guitar player had to back out, and it was like we had 4 days, and I was like, who can learn these parts for 3 hours in 4 days? And I threw a spitball at the wall to Eric, and he was like, sure, why not? And so we
mind you, I've never played an electric guitar before that show.
Yeah.
Well, and we knew Nate, who was Eric's dad before that, and between the two of them, they came in and they helped us fill out a show on New Year's Eve.
yeah.
So
Played an hour acoustic set beforehand just
Yep.
to fill some time and
Definitely.
made it work.
Nice.
Improvise, adapt, overcome.
Naturally.
And then Mason, how did you get involved?
So, like Jake said, just me and Jake kind of grew up together. Parents took turns babysitting each other, and then
went to high school together.
I went to high school together, and me and Jake were the weird metalheads in high school. And then we eventually picked up the instruments and just made noise.
And
I got lucky he picked up a guitar instead of a bass or
Yeah.
a drumstick because I was a drummer and he was a bass. Lance was a bass player, so I was like, God, if he picked up a different instrument, I don't know what
You
we'd
wouldn't have a
done.
band.
the way it really started is these two guys got together, Jake and Mason got together, and they started playing songs, and I owned some band equipment, and they said, hey, can we hook it up and set it up and play? And I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. And it turned into a party, and then the next year we had a party, and the next thing you know, they came to me and asked me if I'd play bass for them full time, and I said, sure, why not, as long as they want me. And it's just, blossomed into this.
So it just a bunch of jam outs and then parties and then
Jam
right
out.
into going.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. So as far as like playing instruments, I'm how did you all like what made you pick up guitars, drums,
Well, years ago, I started off in a band called Lefty, and
Represent.
yeah, and it was my best friend from high school and his brother-in-law and his nephew. They were all starting a band. They came to me and they said, hey, we need a bass player. You want to play bass? I said, I don't know how to play bass, but I'll try. And 3 days later, we had our first practice. And so the next thing I know, I was in that band for 10 years. So that's how I got started.
That's what introduced me to music,
And that's what
pretty much.
introduced me.
My
Jake
dad
used
was
to come
in
to
it.
practice room with us, and
Yeah, and I gravitated towards drums just because I'd always liked banging on pots. The typical drum story, I was banging on pots and pans when I was a kid. And then I stopped for quite some time, and then around 2012, I found a band, Avenged Sevenfold, and the way that their drummer played, I was like, I want to do that, whatever that is. So I dove deep end, just immediately throwing myself about as far into it as you can get with Avenged Sevenfold. And
that's
so
when I built a garage.
he built a garage just so I could get out of the house. So that's kind of why I gravitated toward drums.
And it was a good distance away from the house,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. Lots of insulation.
That's great.
I'm curious about Eric.
Yeah.
Well, I had the luxury of being born into a musical family, and my father was pretty well connected into the local music scene, so courtesy of some local bands like Beaver Creek, Scatty Rockstar, of course these guys before I had the opportunity to come play for them, I kind of got my roots done and settled and got to learn a lot from some very incredible and really talented musicians, and that kind of set me on this path. It wasn't much convincing that needed to be done. It was just the coolest thing I ever thought of. So, and I get to be paid for it and do it full time. So, it's
my mom is a big piano player, has been all her life, and she kind of pushed, tried to encourage me and my little brother to learn piano, and my brother took it and ran with it, but I was like, I don't know if the piano's for me, so I think her and my dad got me a guitar, and I started taking lessons for that, and over time it's kind of, like Jake said, just kind of dove into it, and I was like, I really like this.
You won a guitar contest.
That too, yeah, so that really made it. When I was 12, I won an electric guitar at a block party sale for 8th Note Music. Shout out Chris Carr.
Yeah.
And after I got that, I had to go buy my first little amp, and I was like, I'm sold.
Yep.
That's it.
Just picked it up and ran with it.
Yeah.
That's great. So, talking about skills though, Eric, you're great as a lead guitar, and you all are great, by the way. It's just y'all are really skilled.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
It really shows. And then Jake, I've always noticed you do the drumstick, like you flip it. I even watched you do it at the jam session, and that's not even a song you rehearse, right? So
no, it's what started that was I was middle school, and Dad went and watched Slaughter play, and he immediately got home, looked up their drummer, and said, "Jake, watch." And if you think the crap I do is insane, that guy is throwing sticks underneath his leg in the middle of a song and catching it and staying on beat. And I was like, that's cool as crap. Well, I was like, how am I gonna? I always knew that I wasn't gonna be the most technical drummer on the planet. I'm just not a technical guy. But I was like, if I look good doing it, maybe more people would come see us. So I taught myself how to twirl a drumstick, and then from there it went from, okay, you can twirl, but you need to do something else. And I saw guys flipping the stick, so I started doing that a lot. And here we are 10 years later. I can't play drums without doing it. Even when I'm like recording drums for an album or something, I'm finding myself doing it just muscle memory wise. So it came from wanting to look good doing it, because I didn't assume that I would be good enough to actually sound good doing it.
You just wanted to show off.
Right, that's what it was. That's why I sing too, is because I'm trying to show off.
And there aren't a whole lot of drummers that sing and drum either. I can't imagine that, going through those motions.
Every person that asks me that question, like, how'd you learn how to do that? I always tell them I regret doing it. And I don't mean that as a joke. I genuinely regret telling. Eric wasn't in the band yet, but it was Mason and Lance, and we needed a singer, and we had known 40 songs, and I was like, I am not going to hire another guy and take another 6 months to a year to learn 40 songs with this guy. I said, to heck with it, I'll do it. I hated that idea. I don't know why I decided to do that, but here we are a bunch of years later, and I'm still singing, and I'd like to believe I'm better than I was that first show in 2019, but no, it's not easy, but it's fun to do because, like you just said, not very many people do it, so it's another little trinket of Section 7 that...
And now he is the only lead singer in history who's both sets up and tears down.
That seems like a shot at Scatty Rockstar. Is that
No.
Never.
So, all right, your musical influences. Where'd you pick your songs from? Who'd you grow up with? I heard Avenged Sevenfold and such.
Yeah, that was. I regret to say I didn't find them organically. I found them thanks to a video game. Call of Duty hired Avenged Sevenfold to do all their stuff, and so that's kind of where I was like, I don't know who the heck that is, but I want to listen to those guys. And then I just happened to have, everyone says Guitar Hero. I happened to have a Guitar Hero game that had Backcountry by Avenged Sevenfold on it, and I was like, and you were like, you need to do that, Jake.
Do that,
Lance was like, do that, Jake. So Avenged was my big one.
Metallica. I'm an 80s and 90s guy, so I I'm stuck on Metallica. You know, the and all the stuff we do now. We do a lot of the stuff from my era, the
Motley
arena
Crue,
rock type of
yeah.
stuff, the Motley Crue and the Bon Jovi and that. You know, that's what I grew up with, and thank goodness it's still around.
Yeah, I courtesy of my father, I got to grow up with the grunge era. So Alice in Chains was my my poison of choice.
I'm all the above. I'm a Guns N' Roses nut. Grew up with a little cassette tape in my first truck. And just played that over and over again.
I see. That's all great. So then,
You had Wake in the Fallen in your truck too. That was an old blue truck.
Wow.
You could put Wake in the Fallen by Avenged Sevenfold in there, and
Wow.
he'd roll up to school with just the most
Windows
junk
rattling.
speakers rattling the cymbals.
Music at 7:30 in the morning.
So then, how far have you guys traveled for your band?
What is the furthest we've gone? I know we
Well-
played a show in Wesley one time. He showed up on his bike
Yep.
with,
Wesley, A-Bait.
yep, A-Bait was fun.
A-Bait was fun. Boone,
We played early.
Early. We did Early that time.
We did.
Shaler.
Holstein.
Yes,
Galva
the
Holstein.
Galva over by
Galva,
Holstein.
yeah.
We played the biker rally there.
Yeah.
That was a fun show.
That was fun.
It wasn't really a rally. It was more of a benefit
It was
for
a benefit
guy.
for that gentleman.
So, no, that's probably as far as we went. It was a 2-hour drive over there ish.
Yeah.
So, Eric, how far have you gone for your solo stuff?
Yeah.
I know you've gone.
Well, it wasn't necessarily a solo show, but when I was still playing with Scotty Rockstar Unplugged, we went pretty well past Minneapolis. So
Oh, wow.
that was like
Show off.
It was a very tired drive back. I think I passed out a few times.
Made a cool $7.
Right.
Yeah, just not far off.
And so, you guys play. I've seen small town celebrations. Badger, Palmer or Palmer.
Yeah.
Fonda.
Yep. So how did that all get lined up? Was it just people seeing you and liking you, or?
We originally were and I got to give a huge shout out to Stacy Peterson and Saucy Jack. He was more than willing to take a band that had never played a show before and say, "You want to open for us at the Opera House of all places?"
Yep.
And we were like,
Yeah.
"That's about as easy as you can get." Tons of people are going to show up for Saucy Jack. I mean, I've got to go do that. So we all decided to do that, and then the more we'd play, and we'd play the small stuff, the bars and the
Yeah.
And-
Just like everybody.
right. And then in March of 21, I believe, Mason dragged me over to his house, and he was like, "Look at this!" And the guy literally built a stage from scratch. Just went and bought one at Menards and came home and built a stage. And I was like, "Well, we can sell that. We can tell these places that hire these people to bring in a flatbed trailer. Don't do it. We'll just come do it ourselves." And that's kind of what I think that's what sold us on the street dance stuff.
And then the first place was Stumpy's Bar
as
and
well.
Grill in
Yeah,
Duncombe.
Stumpy's
That's where
was
we took your first stage, and
more than
we
willing
set
to
it
help
up, and we had a heck of a party over there in Duncombe that time.
It sounds cliche, but it really is who you know when it comes to starting up. If you can get in a couple of places, know somebody here and know somebody there, all of a sudden those connections kind of make up. Oh, he just happens to have a bar that he's going to let us play. He has a band. They're just going to happen to let us open for him.
And then as soon as you play somewhere and you look out in the crowd and everybody's eyes are as big as saucers, you're like, okay, you must be doing something right.
Right.
And then the next thing you know, you got two guys coming up wanting to book their show
Right.
somewhere else. And it just, one show turns into the next show and turns into the next show.
Domino effect.
Domino
Exactly.
effect, yeah.
When Eric joined the band, he opened some new doors as well because of his acoustic band
show.
and his acoustic stuff. He'd played other places because of your dad, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And even in such a tight-knit music community, you can find so many different venues and avenues that you wouldn't necessarily get called to. So
Exactly.
Any interesting ones as far as?
Interesting ones.
A-Bait's always fun.
A-Bait was probably my favorite.
I've heard stories of A-Bait. I haven't
Mason,
had the
how was
pleasure yet,
A-Bait?
but
I wasn't there for that one.
Exactly. Poor Mason missed A-Bait.
Yeah.
That was a good time.
Yeah.
Eric was still pretty young at the time, and we showed up at A-Bait, and some of the crap that we saw. I remember Eric turning around looking at me in the middle of the show and being like, I don't even know what the next song is, guys. I got nothing because
not suitable for radio.
No.
Stays at 8.
Right. But it's so much fun. The crowd's into it. I think that's the biggest thing.
And truthfully, the other one is Fonda last year. I couldn't believe how much Fonda was.
last year.
And we're doing it again this year, and I can't wait.
Yeah.
If they show up with half the energy they showed up with last year, I'll be happy because it was a blast.
It was just a wave of people.
It was a really good time.
Exciting to see on a stage like that.
Yep.
And you want to talk about something fun that's I still can't believe. Kind of a selfless plug here. We're playing this. They probably haven't announced it yet, but this Palmer thing they've got going on. We played last year for their Street Dancer City Celebration, and this year they're going to do it again, and they want us to come back. And it makes me filled with like joy that they're willing to put us on last over all the bands they have. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but the bands they have, I'm like, you want us to play after them?
Yeah, you want us to headline that? Are you kidding me?
So
absolutely.
Stuff like that getting...
And that Palmer has turned into a big deal. Our good buddy Mikey Whiteman, he's bringing his full big PA and doing a full production for a 2-day event in Palmer, Iowa this year. So if you get a chance, man, that's going to be a big party.
I'll definitely have to put that on my calendar.
Have to.
What's the date, Jake? You're supposed to know this.
August 1st or 2nd, whatever the Saturday is.
Okay.
I'm going to write that down.
Yeah, you should know about that one, Eric.
So, and then...
In fact, if anybody wants to book us, they get a hold of us.
Yeah.
You can always message the Facebook page if someone wants to. Book us. Section 7 band. That's just the easiest way to get hold of us. It comes straight to me, and then I can make anything work I have to. And we've got calendars that kind of show everyone's schedule, so I know what I can, but what I can't pass. So if you want to book something, don't be afraid to message, and we'll do what we can to get there because we do want to play new places. I always looking for new places.
So we talked a little bit about the fall break that you guys took. Mm-hmm. You had a very busy summer last year and then took a break. What all do you want to say about that? Like your rehearsals, what new bands are you guys having your new set?
Well,
go ahead, Eric.
That's a good question. What are we playing for the new sets?
I know we added, for the New Year's Eve show we did up at Rails, we learned... I wanted to do some more grunge stuff because I know Eric loved that era of stuff, and I don't think we play enough of it. And I had always loved Machine Head by Bush, and I was like, Eric, can you sing that? And he's like, yes. And I was like, hey, we're doing it. So we learned that one, and because for some reason we hadn't learned enough Poison, we learned Unskinny Bop. And then there was one more that we learned. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I know we're learning new stuff. I know we're learning same bands, new songs. You know, we already play Ozzy, but there's no reason you can't play
to Ozzy,
or there's no reason you can't do new stuff. Queens of the Stone Age, stuff like that. Yeah. Just adding some new bands, and the bands that we do have, maybe replacing the songs that we've played for 4 years with something. We've played For Whom the Bell Tolls by Metallica a million times. It's probably time to do a different Metallica song. Yeah. not unlearn the first one, but
broaden the horizons.
Definitely. Mason, what Metallica song you want to play right now?
All of them.
Okay.
Every single one.
We're a Metallica tribute band from here on out. Apparently.
All right. So when you do have busy schedules, you're like playing back to back. How do you all preserve your voices?
We let Jake sing.
Yeah. I just let Jake do all the hard stuff, and I sing the pretty things.
Yep. A lot of warm tea and honey.
Yep.
Yeah. I've been lucky enough to understand the difference between the right way to do it and the wrong way to do it. I did a lot of shows the wrong way, and it became painful. And being able to sing the right way helps quite a bit because all of a sudden you're not blowing your voice out every time you sing. Yeah, it's still a 4-hour show.
Yep.
But you feel a lot more crystal clear on what you're trying to do technicality-wise with your voice, rather than just as loud and as hard as you can, which will just blow it out. And then, you're not going to sing the next day after that. I've also seen us do a practice on a Thursday night, and then we'll make Eric sing a hard song that we're just now learning, and then we'll make him sing it again on Friday, and then we have a show on Saturday as well. Yep. And by Saturday, Eric's looking at me like, I'm not doing it. I don't want to do this song.
Yeah. And in this genre, it comes with it. You require a certain level of vocal dexterity, and you you have to embrace it wholly, otherwise you can really hurt yourself.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And vocal rest cannot be understated as well.
Yes.
And practice. The more we practice, the stronger our voices get, and the stronger our playing gets, and the more practice, the better you can do.
And the easiest thing for, me, Eric, and Lance, because Lance does all the harmonies. Eric sings, I would say, a good portion, 40 to 50% of the songs. I sing the rest. And the easiest thing the three of us can do at a show is find a song that Mason sings. So we just give it to Mason.
Yeah.
And then let Mason sing.
Kryptonite was the one that I've heard the most from you. Is there any others?
There's a couple more coming up. After this
Cool.
little break, hiatus and new list of songs, but yeah.
That's good. I can't wait to see it.
But,
If you want to hear Mason sing more songs, reach out.
Yeah.
we have
Contact
no
his
problem.
personal cell number at
yeah, the low, gravelly, nasty voice.
Works perfect for some of that stuff, man.
Yeah, there's music for that.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Whitney Houston, Celine Dion, that's right up your
Mariah
alley.
Carey.
Yep.
That's on the
I love when he sings Beyonce.
That's my favorite.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Her new album.
I got to see that. I'll pay money to see that.
Yeah, well, we'll be doing it now.
March 15th at the VFW in Dakota City. St. Patty's Day party. You'll see Mason sing
At least something.
Beyonce.
Yeah. No, I feel like we do cover each other with backup vocals too. So whoever's singing lead, if it comes up to a part that's more prominent, and we've been singing 3 nights in a row, the backup singers kind of
We try and layer it.
Yeah.
Layer it so the one you don't leave one guy hanging out there by themselves. That's too much.
We got really lucky as a band to have 4 guys who can sing on key.
Well, sometimes.
Most of the
Speak for
time.
yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, along the lines of being able to not. There are bands in the world with one singer, and that's it. So if his voice doesn't work, the show doesn't happen. If my voice were to blow out the day before a show, we'd still be able to play it and get through it because the 3 of them would be able to at least make it work. It probably wouldn't be as smooth as we'd like it to be, but I think we got lucky with being able to cover, like Mason said, cover each other quite a bit and allow us to be not fatigued.
Yeah.
Very, very.
That's the other thing is pick songs that don't strain your voice bad.
Yeah.
We do that a lot. I mean, a lot of people want to do that
Yeah. Speak for
really
yourself.
high screaming stuff that just you can't do it. There's just no way.
And to find a group of guys with this level of cohesion, that just naturally
You
it
can
helps. You know,
Mhm.
it pulls a lot of weight.
Chemistry is a big thing. Being able to understand when I know when Eric's voice is falling off towards the end of a chorus, and it's like, okay, and he'll know without even with no eye contact, he'll know to back off the mic to save the voice for the next chorus, and I'll know to just sing it quick, or Lance will just sing it quick, sing the end of the chorus, just so he can do the next one without hurting himself.
Without struggling.
But all that happens with no eye contact or nothing.
Nope.
So that's all cohesion and practice.
That's practice room.
Practice.
That's being in the practice room together.
Knowing each other without having any kind of
Yep.
body language.
Yep.
Unspoken chemistry.
Yep.
That's great.
Knowing what the other 3 guys are thinking.
And seeing the signs. And so, do you have any advice for people who want to perform like you guys do?
Practice.
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 You guys are so cliche. Practice.
Practice, just don't stop.
Drink beer
No.
and play 24/7. I don't know.
No, I honestly, I think the best advice I ever got was from the singer of Lefty, your buddy from high school, Greg,
Yep.
told me when I was 6, 7, 8 years old in the practice room, they would take a break and they'd leave and I would want to play the drums and mess with the microphone and stuff like that as a kid. And Greg once told me, when you have the microphone in your hand, you can say whatever you want in this microphone because you're the one doing it. You're the one with the microphone. The people will listen to you. You're the loudest, straight up. And now, obviously, as a kid, you take that and you say all the cuss words you want and all this stuff. When in reality, as I grew up, I realized, no, it was you're the only one that can tell you weren't good. You're the only one that can tell you didn't do well enough that time. So if I go into it thinking I can do it and I'm going to be good enough for the public ear, and that's the easiest way of saying I'm really good without saying I'm really good. No.
Yeah.
I like being able to think that if I have confidence in me, so will the rest of the guys. And if the rest of the guys have confidence in me, then so will the public. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And speaking for a guitar player, I suppose this could apply to a performer in general. I've had a quote passed around by some incredibly talented artists in the area that when it's your opportunity will come, especially on stage, and when it's your turn to get in the way, get in the way. It can't be understated to try not to step on other people's toes and respect the stage, respect the people around you, respect the listeners, respect yourself as a creative artist. And
if you're going to be in a band, it's not about you. It's about the band. You know what I mean?
It's about the band. It's got to be about the band.
And your moment can help elevate it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like Eric saying, Fort Dodge and really, Webster County's like got the
Insane.
best music scene.
The musical talent around here is
it's
unparalleled.
Come out and get involved with everybody. The jam nights, every bar always has somebody playing.
And truthfully, it amazes me how well all the local musicians get along. There isn't one person that thinks they're better than everybody else. There isn't, conflicts here and there and everywhere. Everybody just gets along because we all support each other.
A lot of the bands, instead of even the bands are the same genre, a lot of the bands are like, you immediately would think, oh, if I'm a country band and I've got another country band, I'm fighting for the same amount of shows. Yeah. Around here, it's like those two country bands do a show together just because they want to.
Even jam nights is a testament to that. The number of musicians that show up and
the amount of fun jam night is for people like us, because anymore Jeremy doesn't let the bands get up and play together. He says you and then you from that band and then you from that band and then you from that band go. And the four of you from four totally different groups have to
do a beautiful thing.
Have to play
spontaneous magic.
Yeah.
It's very magical. I've never thought I could see so many people get up who rarely ever even rehearse with each other, just perform a song they've probably never even played.
Right.
Yep.
And I think that's a testament to everybody around here is great friends and everyone gets along and no one's competing. Everyone around here is that dang good. There's no one around here that's not good. Yeah. Everybody around here is talented in either their way or the public way. I cannot believe how many times I've seen someone show up to jam night and I'm like, I've never seen that dude before in my life.
Yeah.
He's in no band.
I've been around music in this area for 25 years.
No idea who that guy is.
Guy shows up and he's phenomenal.
And he's great.
Who is this guy?
It was a year ago. The Schoen Brothers roll into town. Yeah. I'm like, who the heck are you guys? So I'm very proud to be a part of a culture of this many talented musicians. It's a wonderful thing.
And they're all super supportive too. Like me right here interviewing you guys, I'm getting help for that kind of stuff. I'm seeing bands that are like still high school age. They're being lifted up to levels that I don't think I could get anywhere else.
Love Bomb.
Okay.
I actually asked them. I'm going to line them up at some point soon.
Perfect.
Yep.
Love Bomb is one of those bands that, like, the first time I saw them, I was like, those guys rock. And then the second time I saw them, I went, wait, why are they better? The third time I saw them, I went, wait a minute. No, you can't keep getting better. And here we are a whole year later, and I'm like, they're recording music, and they're releasing songs.
They're writing their own music, and
awesome to see.
And it's great music. Like I like it even more than their covers.
Like, right. It's insane, the amount of talent that rolls through here and just the support that we all give each other. I love it.
Yeah, so that'll conclude my interview with you guys. Should I put in 4 separate songs, or do you guys think you could agree on a song choice to play next?
Ooh.
There's
only know that it's a little limited.
There is one song I know for a fact that fits all of us perfectly fine. And you know what? It's that one right there. It says, "You Give Love
a Bad Name" by Bon Jovi. All right, let me check the time here, and I can put it on right after this legal hour. All right. Thank you for tuning in to KICB. Thank you guys so much for this opportunity. I'm very happy to be here with you guys. So
thank you for inviting us, man. We appreciate it.
It's a wonderful opportunity.
Thank you.
All right.